Hello, Joe. Welcome to Diary Entry 11. We are very happy to see you. I see from your face that maybe you're not having the best day, though. What's going on this week?
Um, so I actually saw a friend. We dropped both the kids off for a sleepover yesterday afternoon. So, one of the friends' dads, we were talking about exchanging contracts on a house and doing these things, and he said nothing gets in the way of a good deal like two lawyers. And I was like, oh my god, that's so true. We are now just dealing with all legal things and contracts and all these annoying things that I don't know because I'm not a lawyer or a licensed builder or other people that have anything to do with buying and selling houses regularly. So we I would love to have said, yay, we've exchanged contracts and we're well on our way, and we haven't. And I feel like sticking a fork in my eye.
Oh, Joe. I am very sorry to hear that. And I also feel like it's like with a move that you're doing like this, where there's so many moving parts happening at once and so many things where you're not the expert and having to hand over control to someone else, it's hard. You're doing that in like every aspect of your life at the moment. And the house has been an ongoing piece, but it's sort of happening everywhere, with packing up the house and moving and setting up over there. So it's probably there's a combination of both things happening there, I imagine.
Yeah. But you know what? It's just like, it's boring stuff now. I'm even bored thinking about it, let alone punishing and putting anyone else through listening to it. But it's just very frustrating. But I thought you would find the back half of last week an amusing tale because whenever we recorded last week, I was sitting surrounded with boxes, yes?
Yes.
Did I tell you that the truck had been too big to come up the driveway in the first place when the Packers
No.
were coming? Oh my god! Okay, so this is the story for the for the ages. I came, so the Packers arrived like lunchtime on a Tuesday. I was coming home from town and came over the hill and could see a big truck with like two shipping containers on the back of it trying to get up our driveway, which, for those of you who have not spent any time in rural Australia, is not a paved road, is a dirt road. We're on quite a steep hill, and this was a big truck. And I was like, oh no. Anyway, I sort of drove up behind it and went off and through the trees and pulled up next to them, and they were like, we're stuck. And I was like, yes, you are. This truck is too big. And I was like, yes, it is. So they reversed back down to the bottom of the hill and parked this big truck at the bottom of our road, which is also dirt. Anyway, they had to then drive, well, actually, they didn't park. They then had to drive 45 kilometres back into town, hire a smaller truck. So they then parked the big truck at the bottom of the hill and then literally had to double handle our whole house into the little truck and then into the big truck at the bottom of the hill. Anyway, they did it. They were the most amazing two guys, our removalists. They were just delightful. Like, we had a really fun, actually, couple of days with them packing the house up. Anyway, we then leave at 3 o'clock on the Thursday. So after 2.5 days of them wrapping and packing and shuttling and doing all of these things up and down this hill, we drove out and looked at the truck, and the truck was bogged.
Oh my God.
So we had on the Thursday maybe 20 or 30 centimetres of rain in like an hour and a half. So torrential rain.
Gosh.
And the truck, with my whole life wrapped up in it, was stuck in the mud out the front of our road. And they had called a tow truck. They still had to drive like 650 kilometres to Sydney with this full truck, like hours and hours of drive still on the back of these 2.5 days of packing. Anyway, my husband was just like, oh my gosh, surely I've got something up at the house that can help. Because we then have left an empty house, so we didn't have any gear or anything to pull them out with, anything like this. Anyway, he went back up, found a shovel, found some pieces of wood, was out there digging in the rain and the mud with these two guys to get this truck out. I just sat in the car and read my book. I was like, I'm not helping. Anyway, they finally got them out and then on we went. But it was just so funny. Slash, if I don't laugh, I'm going to cry. I was like, literally, there's our whole house sinking in mud at the front of it. It was so funny.
What a way to close out. I feel like we've heard a lot about this dirt road because like selling the car and having to wash the car, and now it's like it's nearly thwarted you at the end with this bog truck.
Oh, gosh,
very impressive that they got it out though.
I know.
I'm glad to hear.
So funny. And actually, do you know what, talking about, that's one of my other jobs that I need. I have actually sold the other car, which is amazing, to a guy, it turns out, who I knew already, who found me on Facebook Marketplace, who is going to meet us at the airport and pick the car up from the airport, so we don't even have to get ourselves to the airport when we leave, which is just like so nice. So I do need to go and wash because it's got mud all over it and all through it because everyone got in very muddy after digging a truck out on last week. So anyway, the driveway.
What a way to finish.
Yeah, I left yesterday. We went out to pack up just the last of it and I left, and my husband was quite like sad, and he's like, oh, you know, I've just put so much work and things into this place. And I almost like gave the house the bird. I was like, I'm so done with you. See ya. I like left and was just like, I have had enough, like well and truly.
Oh my gosh. Did you end up doing anything as a family to sort of say goodbye?
Yeah, we did. On Saturday, we took the kids out, just the four of us. We took some sausages and we made a little barbecue, like a little fire, and we cooked some s'mores and just sort of sat out and watched the sunset and then came back into town. So it was quite nice. It was a bit, I didn't know how it was going to go, taking the kids into an empty house. Like there was no furniture or anything in the house. And so I was a bit like, oh, how's this going to go? And the younger one went into her room and lay down like a star on the ground and burst into tears, and so that was a bit real, I think. But then, you know, it was actually a really nice little closure. So that was another tick. We've got to go and hand the dog over tonight.
Just another part of your life that you're giving the bird to.
Yeah, see your dog. I'm like, I don't actually care if I never see you again either. So.
Some crocodile tears for you there, Joe.
No. But do you know something else that's been interesting, and without sort of going into the mega details of things, I have had 2 incidences in the last 2 days where friends have got some pretty major things going on health-wise and, you know, family situation-wise, where they have said, look, I probably wouldn't have told you this soon, but you're going and I want to be able to tell you myself, and I don't want you to hear it second, third, fourth hand once you're gone. And so I'm also had a whole lot of people's health things offloading onto me. Because I was just like, get me out of here.
That's, how do you feel with that? Because sometimes, you know, when friends are going through, I know for me, when I've got friends going through big things and I'm not around, I really feel that distance. And like, it's lovely that they are able to open up to you and you're someone that you can be there for them, but it is going to be from far away. How's that feeling?
Oh, well, look, with the one that I saw this morning, she's like, she's unwell and they haven't even told their kids yet. But she's like, I wanted to be able to tell you and actually give you a hug rather than having to tell you over the phone and then do all of that in a weird, distance way. So no, I'm actually super appreciative of like, it was, this hasn't happened before, like as far as people sort of divulging things, but I guess it's of a time, like I'm in my early 40s, things are happening to them and their parents and their marriages and all of these different bits and pieces. And I guess I love that they wanted a physical hug first and would like to have sort of done it in person, which is nice. And so, yes, I agree. It's tricky when people are doing big things, and particularly because it's a bit of out of sight, out of mind as well. Once I'm gone, like I have to then actively think to engage, where if you see someone that's physically deteriorating or unwell, or and you're seeing them regularly in town, you're checking in, and I won't have that. So that's something for me to sort of be conscious of, I guess, as well, to have a think about.
And how do you do that? Because I know you have friends all over the world, but what's your process for staying connected? Because I think everyone does this really differently, and it's always interesting to hear how people manage to keep those connections in place when they're moving around.
Um, well, I've always claimed that as one of my superpowers, and I've actually heard my husband say to people like, "Oh, Joe's so good at this," and "Oh, you guys have got friends everywhere. How come?" And he's like, "Because Joe's good at it." My default is literally whenever anyone pops up in my mind, whether it's I'm just driving and think of them, or something reminds me of them, or if I see something on social media or whatever, I will text them. And if I've got time, I will put a call in. And I think just those spontaneous, was just thinking of you, thought I'd just ping you a text.
Yeah.
Or the joys of like a voice note now. I just do like a random verbal diarrhea into a thing. And which, I've got some friends, we laugh about it. There's this one friend who I actually haven't spoken to in years, and we just voice memo each other. And I haven't actually had a real-time conversation with her in years.
Yeah. It's amazing the friends that you voice note with and the ones that you don't. I always find that really funny. Like I have some friends that would just never do it, and then others that's like the only way we communicate. It's and I feel like it has really changed the way you can connect with people, because it's so lovely to hear people's voices and thought process and connect in that way.
Well, I'm also so sarcastic and very dry, and I don't actually land well in text quite often.
I think your friends know you well enough to know that.
Well, I still manage to cause either not offence but concern or confusion sometimes. So yeah, good old
Are
voice
you
memo is
okay?
quite good.
Do
Yeah,
you hate me?
yeah. Are we still friends here? Yes. So that is probably how I do it. I am also, which I know a lot of people do not like, but I am a massive fan of a good Facebook, a WhatsApp group. So if I can clump people with themes that I can have less conversations with more people, that is also a good life hack as well.
Nice. I like it. You're not a social media user though. You don't use social media to connect, do you?
Not majorly. Like I have zero self-control. Like I fall down holes and I'm stuck there forever when I'm just like looking at it, to the point where I've like set those time limit things on it on myself now, so that it's like half an hour, and if it hits that I'm like, where did that even go? But no, I'm not a big poster on there either, and that's been off the back of one of the kids calling me out on it, like, oh, I don't want you to put that there. And I was like, ew. I sort of hear people talking about this, and I was like, oh, my kids won't care, and my kids apparently care, so
Yeah.
I've stopped.
Good on
Not
you.
to the point where I've like gone back and taken everything down. I was like, sorry, that's already it's already out in the world. I'm not going to take them down. But I haven't really done much in years actually of posting stuff. So I might dive in every now and then and have a bit of a sticky beak, but I'm actually not all that interested. If I'm not sort of in a WhatsApp group that's a loose communication where I get to loosely hear what people are up to, I just don't actually really care.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got one friend who's not on social media at all and only ever connects through like personalized text messages with people. Like if she's connecting, it's incredibly deliberate in how she does it. So you feel really special if you receive a text, but it just means they're quite few and far between, because she's got like a big network and she's wanting to be so conscious in that engagement. I'm definitely more of the spray gun approach. And when we first moved to Singapore, I wasn't super active on Instagram, and then I started using my stories as a way to keep people engaged, because as we've talked about, I'm a massive introvert, and so it was just a really good way to let heaps of people know what I was doing without actually connecting
Having
with
to talk to them.
which is terrible, but it worked for me for a little while.
Whatever works.
Yeah. But it sounds like you've got your strategy in place for the move, and I know you've talked a bit about how you're going to support the girls as well, like giving them a bit more access to phones for connecting and things like that.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm already starting to lose interest with that concept, just even seeing them, like even just that while we've been living in this serviced apartment. Oh yes, because I don't live in my empty house now, because I'm living in a serviced apartment in town. Because they're not spending over an hour each direction on the bus, they're here more and they've got more time, and we don't have a yard or a dog or any of these things. And so there's an old iPad that sort of kicks around that they are fighting over, that they are, wanting. And I'm like, oh, this is annoying. I feel like I might have made some promises that I'm not going to fulfill whatsoever.
There can be things that happen in Australia and things that happen in Thailand.
100%. Yes, there is definitely going to be different rules. And there's also going to be mum changed her mind. Sorry.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
I remember when we first moved, my eldest was only 3.5, and this won't work for your girls, I don't think, but it was really sweet for her just in the transition. Her little childcare did a couple of dial-ins, and it was like ridiculous because it was a bunch of 3-year-olds in a room, but she was just so pumped to have that connection home. And then it gave her a real pep in her step when she started at a new childcare as well, and this really strong connection to home that I think she still has from those little moments. Obviously, you're not going to dial into, classes when
we did, actually. We did that when we were in Singapore. Yeah, so we both, and again, this is the joys of small country schools. I don't know how, up for it other schools are. But I just would every now and then, be emailing with the teacher. It was actually only good for the year so it would have only been the back half of the first year where I actually had a relationship with the teacher that they were with. And we just lined up a Zoom into the classroom, and they've all got a sort of interactive whiteboard. So they were up on the big screen and would dial in, and the time zone sort of worked. So they were able to be sort of, early first sort of thing as class all came in. The girls were still at home getting ready for school. So we could do a quick sort of 15-minute and check in and things. So yeah, I think that we probably will still try and do that. And I think actually out the other end, because they're so much older this time, the kids will be quite interested in another country, and the girls will have had a lot more exposure, and the ability to actually talk about the food or the festivals or the whatever, those bits and pieces. So yeah, I think I will keep going with that.
It's a novelty more so in a country like Australia, and particularly rural Australia, for people to do these big overseas moves. Like if we were to leave Singapore, I don't think anyone would really care, because it's so transient. People are moving. I mean, I'm sure people would care, but the idea of my daughters dialing back into their Singapore class, they can be like, yeah, well, you and 5 other people left this year, so good luck. You have these beautiful, strong connections, but it's with your people, and then the expectation that you're going to move on. But that is a really lovely part of, I think, Australian culture. It's kind of unique what you're doing, and your girls have this special little thing that they're going to be able to talk about with their Aussie mates, which is really nice.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the thing is, with my ex-teacher hat on, it's actually an amazing teaching opportunity for the teacher to be able to have, a student, so not like an adult dialing in, but to have actually one of their peers who can answer questions and give the perspective of a 12 and a 10-year-old to other 12 and 10-year-olds on something. So
and for your girls, that presentation skills, etc. So, oh gosh, we've just thought of a new business idea. We can align this
with the curriculum. Tick, tick, tick. Yeah, no, it's a really nice little thing to I guess, and especially for Matilda, because she's going to be going from primary school directly into high school with, 8 different classes and bouncing around, and she'll be actually able to give these kids an insight into, well, she's 3 terms ahead of where they're going to be going into the next calendar year as well. So being able to tell them in real time what going to high school's like while they're sort of getting ready for it, which is quite cool as well.
And you've only got a few days left in your hometown before you do your holiday and then the big move. So what do the next few days look like for you?
Life admin. I realised I don't know where the copies of our wills are.
Cool.
This morning.
Fun stuff.
So literally going to the lawyers trying to go and donate blood tomorrow before I go, like just doing little life admin-y things like that, I think. And then I've still got to work on top of that, which is also very annoying. We've got like maybe 2 more nights. Well, we've got 2 more nights here and then we leave the country in like 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know. I've lost track now.
And so the next time we actually record anything will be when you've landed in Thailand.
Yep.
That's pretty exciting.
Wild. No. And what did you say? What episode was this? 11.
11. So episode 12 from your new home.
That's pretty crazy considering like it was only a few weeks before that the job even happened. It's so crazy how quick it's been.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Anyway, I just want to hurry up and get there now. I'm like I've run out of steam well and truly.
You've done an amazing job. Like thank you for having us on the ups and downs. It's been really insightful. No, I mean, I obviously know you really well. You're such a positive person. It's been hard being so far away from you and seeing like the ups and mostly the downs. I like seeing the ups. The downs are not so good, but I'm sure it's really helpful for other people to see that as well and know that even the brightest and bubbly of us can find this overwhelming and hard and tiring and just wanting to get over it. Like, you love that house and I know you love the dog even though it's driven you crazy, and so the fact that you're at this point just giving them all the bird as you leave town is a sign of it's time and you need a break.
Yeah, 100%. And it's time. And I think that this is the sort of thing, if you drag these things out for too long, like I just ran into a friend who got married a couple of weeks ago who was engaged for like 2 years. And she's like, I didn't even really enjoy the wedding because I was just so over it. Like I was really, like, she goes, it was nice and things, but she's like, I wouldn't do it again because I've been talking about that wedding for 2 years. And I was like, oh yeah. I was engaged for 6 months and got married. I was like, I couldn't have dragged it out like that. So I'm feeling it's a little, I said, oh gosh, I feel like that's what our moves are like. If I couldn't have done this dragged out over an extended period of time, I don't think.
Also, 12 weeks is so fast.
Yeah.
So for most people, a move like this wouldn't happen that quickly. There's a little bit of whiplash in that as well, in the fact that you made the decision and you've gone and we've been able to follow every step of the way. So thank you. And I'm so excited to have you closer.
Nearly in the same time zone.
Nearly in the same time zone, but, a couple of hours flying away, and hopefully we'll be able to do one of these live together. We could do a Emma and Joe in Bangkok tour.
Sounds good. Done. Lock it in. Live recording.
Live recording. Yeah. I'm not sure anyone will tune in for that. We will edit it. Don't worry.
Classic.
But yeah, thank you so much. Good luck with the next couple of days and the flight over. And we are super excited to see you in your new home.
Me too. I can't wait to get there. We'll talk to you from Thailand.